Everyone fears death, but almost nobody stops to ask, what exactly is it about death that frightens you? Because if you look closely, really closely, you will find that what you call the fear of death is not one fear at all. It is several. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will understand your fear of death more clearly than you ever have before, and that clarity alone might just make the fear a little easier to manage. Let's start with the most obvious fear, the one that nobody likes to talk about directly. Most of us have watched someone die. A grandparent whose body slowly gave up, visited by one illness after another, each one hitting harder than the last, until the physical decline became too much to bear. Or someone struck down in the middle of life by cancer or organ failure, enduring futile and expensive treatments that were almost as punishing as the disease itself. Or the sudden violent deaths, accidents, tragedies that arrive without warning and leave behind unbearable trauma, shock, and grief for everyone involved. And here is what I believe most people, if they are honest with themselves, actually fear: not death, but dying. The process, the pain, the indignity of a body that stops cooperating, the loss of control. I'll be honest, this is the fear that frightens me the most personally, not what comes after death, but what the journey there might look like. Given a real choice, I think most of us would choose to go quietly, peacefully, in our sleep, at whatever age that happens. And the fact that this is one of the most universally shared human wishes across every culture and every century tells you something important. We are not afraid of the final destination as much as we are afraid of the road that leads to it. Let me know in the comments if this is your biggest fear too. Moving on. Can you do anything about this fear? Well, not much. You cannot choose the manner or timing of your death, but you can make your wishes known in advance. In many countries, legal documents exist that allow you to specify exactly how you want to be treated in an end-of-life medical situation, whether you want every possible intervention to keep you alive or whether you want to be allowed to go with dignity and minimal interference. It is not a morbid exercise. It is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself and for the people who will have to make those decisions on your behalf. But the fear of dying is only the beginning, because underneath it, there are other fears, quieter, deeper ones. The next one is something almost everyone feels, but rarely names clearly. It is the fear of separation. The spouse alongside whom you have built your entire life. The children you have watched grow from helpless infants into people you genuinely admire. The siblings who carry the same memories you do. The friends with whom you have shared some of the most joyful moments of your life. The thought of leaving all of them, suddenly, permanently, is for many people far more distressing than the thought of their own death. And here is what I want you to hear about this particular fear. The only real answer to it is not to suppress it, but to honor it, right now, today, by being genuinely present with the people you love while you still can. Your time and attention are the only currencies that matter here, and they are available to you right now in this life. Offer them generously to the people you care about. Now, here's another fear that is closely related, but more practical. And for many people, it is just as powerful. It is not just the fear of leaving the people you love, it is the fear of leaving them vulnerable. What happens to your spouse when you are suddenly gone? What happens to your children who are not yet independent? What happens to the people who rely on you financially, emotionally, practically, when the protection you have always provided simply disappears? This is a fear that can actually be addressed quite directly. Adequate life insurance, a clearly written will, organized financial records, nominated beneficiaries, and honest conversations, the ones most of us keep postponing, about where everything is and what your wishes are. These are acts of love and caring. They are the closest thing available to continuing to protect the people you care about from beyond your own lifetime. But no matter what, You will have to trust that the people you leave behind are stronger and more capable than you give them credit for, that they will eventually adapt and learn to take care of themselves after you're gone. Adversity often reveals strengths in people that comfort had kept quietly hidden. Now I want to talk about a fear that is perhaps less expected, but for a significant number of people, particularly those raised with strong religious beliefs, it is very real. It is the fear of what comes after, specifically, the fear of judgment. The idea that how you lived determines what awaits you after death is present in one form or another across most of the world's major religions. And since most of us are honest enough to know that we have not always lived perfectly, that we have been selfish, unkind, or dishonest at various points along the way, the prospect of a final reckoning carries genuine weight. I won't challenge anyone's beliefs here, but I will share my own perspective for whatever it is worth. I have come to believe that living with integrity, treating others decently, causing unnecessary harm to no one, maintaining a clear conscience, is worth doing entirely on its own terms, not as a transaction with the afterlife, but because a life lived with genuine decency is its own quiet reward. The peace of mind it brings is available right now in this life, and that, to me, is reason enough. I really don't need religion and the constructs of heaven and hell to convince me why I should be a good person, which is why this particular fear has rarely bothered me. And now we come to the last, and in many ways, the most quietly devastating fear of all, the fear of dying unfulfilled. The fear that you will reach the end of your life and discover, in that final honest reckoning, that you never became who you were capable of becoming, that you played it too safe, or waited too long, or simply ran out of time before you could do the things that actually mattered to you. I'll be honest with you. This is the fear that frequently keeps me awake at night. The thought of arriving at the end of my journey with a long list of things I meant to do, wanted to do, almost did, but never did. The existential psychologist Irvin Yalom, who spent decades working with terminally ill patients, found that the most common theme among people facing death was not the fear of pain or even the fear of separation. It was the anguish of an unlived life, the roads not taken, the work abandoned, the things left unsaid. But here is something that genuinely helped me when I examined this fear closely, and I hope it helps you too. No one, not a single human being in the entire history of this species, has ever fully realized their potential within one lifetime. The scope of what any person is capable of, given unlimited time, is effectively infinite. Given the roughly 80 years or so that most of us receive, only a fraction of that potential can ever be expressed. This is not failure. It is simply the human condition. It applies to everyone who has ever lived, including the people whose lives looked, from the outside, like unqualified success. Think of it this way. The Olympic athlete who finishes last in the final race has still, by reaching the Olympics at all, achieved something that millions of equally dedicated competitors never managed. The measure of a life is not the imagined ceiling of what might have been. It is whether you made honest, genuine use of the time and resources you actually had. So strive, work hard, pursue the things that matter to you, not to achieve some imagined version of your full potential, but so that when the time comes, you can look back and honestly say, I tried, I showed up. I didn't sleepwalk through the one life I was given. Because whatever you achieve or don't achieve in this life, none of it travels with you. The only thing that remains, the only thing that ever really mattered, was how fully and honestly you lived it. If this video has resonated with you, please give it a like to support my channel. And if you find these kinds of honest, heartfelt conversations helpful, consider subscribing so we can build a little corner of the world for people like us. People who are simply trying to make peace with the way things are. Here's another conversation waiting for you whenever you're ready. Until next time, take care.